Hi guys, welcome to this session in Microsoft Project. In this module, I want to show you how you can use custom fields to highlight whether you're on track or not on track. So on the screen, I've got an example of what I want to create, where I've got a green circle or a red circle, depending on whether we're over budget or not. So this one is showing red because that is greater than the baseline cost. So if I just insert the baseline column so you can see what the baseline column was. So baseline cost was 480 and we've actually spent 990, so it's gone red. So this baseline cost on this one isn't showing anything. If I put that to 100%, that's the same spend. But if I put that back to 75 and then add another resource, so just assign Bob to that one, assign, and then close that off, and then put that back to 100%. Let's see what happens here. 100% complete. So now that's gone red as well because it's over budget. So what I want to do is recreate this on a new file. So I'll just do Control N and then just do those tasks again. I'll make this a little bit bigger. If I go to the Gantt chart and change the settings to say 14. So call it Project A and then Task 1, Task 2 and Task 3. Just indent those 3 tasks. Come back to the Task tab, indent, give them durations 2, 2, 3, and I'll just link those together very quickly with the chain link, and you can see them linked together. If I double click on this white area, I can put the task names there so you can see what's what, the Gantt chart bit. So it's got task 1, task 2, task 3 there. Now I need to create a couple of resources, so down to the resource sheet, I'll do Bill, Ben, and Bob, and I'll put them all to £10 so it's easy to work out the score on the door. So those are my 3 resources. Go back to the Gantt chart, allocate resources. I'm only going to allocate 2 of those, so I'll highlight all 3 tasks and then just highlight Ben and Bill, assign those, just leave Bob off for a minute. And then I need to save a baseline, so project, set baseline, baseline 1. Oh, it's not baseline 1, it's the default baseline. Okay to that. So that's taking a snapshot of what the cost is. Now if I quickly look at the costs, so if I go view tables, cost table, that's showing me what the actual baseline cost is for each of those tasks. Now what I can do is I can use this table, or I can go back to the other table and add some columns, which is I think what I'll do is go back to the entry table and then add some columns in here so you can see how it affects it. So I'll just add, let's move this over a bit more. I'll add the actual cost column. So actual cost, nothing spent at the moment, and then baseline cost, insert column, baseline cost. There's the baseline cost. So that's the same as what was in the other table view. And you can do that with any table. You can add any column into it and save your columns. Let's bring this across a bit so we can see a bit more. So what I want to happen is if this actual cost is greater than the baseline cost, the planned spend, I want it to flag up. Now to do that, I'm going to use an IIF function. So let's get into that. Right click on a column at the end, go into custom fields. You can also do this from the ribbon. Custom fields, and then it defaults to text, which is what I want, but you've got all these other custom fields that you might want to use. I'm going to rename that as state. State. I wanted to use status, but status is already a name, so I'll just call it state for now. And then where it says formula, going in there, and I want to pick a function. The function I want is the IIF, immediate if. So it basically works the same as a normal if statement. You have a test, comma, what to do if it's true, comma, what to do if it's false. So simple one in this case is going to be if actual cost is greater than or equals to baseline cost. Let's go back into their cost, baseline cost, and the first one. If that's true, comma, 1. If it's not true, comma, 0. So that's what I want it to do. I'll click OK to that. Tells me that it's going to change that data. OK. That will come up with an error. If you do a syntax or typo, it'll tell you there at that point. That's not a syntax error. Click OK. And then you need to insert that column, which is called text1 or state, whichever you want to do. So I'm just going to type the letter T, which will take me to that, and then state. And they're all 0 because they're not over budget in terms of what we planned. Now, if I go on to task 1, and let's go back to home. Now, I don't like using these, but I will for this little demo. Let's say that's 50% complete. So that's okay. We're still within budget. 320 was the plan. And then let me just add a resource to that task. So I'm going to add Bob, which we didn't initially plan for, assign Bob. Now, nothing's happened yet because we haven't actually incremented the completion of that task. But if I put that to 75%, let's see what happens. It's gone to 280. If I put it to 100%, it's now gone over budget because we've added Bob after we planned not to have Bob in there. So it's gone over, and that's flicked over to 1. Now, if I do the same on the next task, if I go resource, add Bob to that one. So now we've assigning Bob there at the beginning. Then I'll go back and do 50% complete on that one. Let's see what happens. 50% is okay. 75%, that already goes over budget because I put him on right at the beginning before we'd actually done anything. So now I've got a 1 and a 1 and a 0. I don't want that. I want that to be the little colored disk. So I'm going back into this. I'm right clicking, custom fields. So there's that one. I'm on it. Down the bottom, graphical indicators. So this is what you got. You go in this list, you go equals to 1. If it's equal to 1, I want this to be a red disk. Red. And then underneath it's equal to 0, which means you're not over budget. I want that to be green, a green disk. Top one. Click OK to that. OK to that. And then those numbers flick over to reflect what you've just told it to do. So it's just a quick way of putting a visual on for yourself. It still says 1 there, look underneath. And that'll say 1 and that'll say 0. They're just the triggers. You're looking at the colours. You print that off. It's fairly obvious what's going on there. You're over budget. You spent more than you planned. So that's all I wanted to talk about in this little video. So hopefully it's of use. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you on the next one.